Hey everyone, it's Kelsey. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this weekly vlog. Peep my laundry in the back. I'm literally trying to sit in front of it, but then I also, my trash can is over there. You didn't see that. You didn't see that at all. I have to do my laundry. I'm gonna do that today. So don't you worry. I know you're all very concerned. I feel like I haven't done a weekly vlog in 30,000 bajillion years. I think the last video I did was a July reset. I just haven't filmed a lot in general. I get backwards seasonal depression, okay? Like, July is the worst month of the year for me. I get super depressed during July because I'm hot and I'm miserable, and I'm the type of person, I don't do well in the heat. Don't get me wrong, I love the beach, love swimming in the pool, like, that's all well and good, but I don't do well in the heat, okay? I get sick, like, I actually get physically sick from the heat, like throwing up. I get, like, really nauseous, like, I feel like I'm gonna pass out. I've actually, like, spiked fevers before from being in the heat. It's not good. I also get really itchy from the heat and the humidity, and I'll get like little red splotches like all over my arms and like all over everywhere. It's just not good for me. So I get really depressed in July, and I end up not really doing anything, honestly, with like, I just don't have the energy to do more than what I need to do, if that makes sense. Luckily, we just passed the hot days and we had a stretch of nicer days, and now today's fine. So I'm feeling better. I'm feeling alive again. I'm feeling rejuvenated. I feel like I can actually live life and do things now. So I was like, it's time to get back to vlogging. I don't even know when the last time I posted was. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. I don't know. So sorry. I feel like that'll probably happen like every July though, because July is just not a good month for me. I should really just schedule a break in the month of July, like beforehand, because I feel like last year I also took like 2 weeks off in July. It's just not a good time for me. I'm a fall girl, personally. That's the best season. I'm ready. But I don't even know what to update you guys on, because I genuinely don't know like where I left off. In terms of life stuff, I'm still like job hunting and all that stuff. I am also looking into like going back to school. I'm not going to talk too much about that just because I personally don't know exactly what I'm doing yet, and I'm not going to share it with you guys until I know like exactly what my plan is. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've been doing a lot of research and just like, okay, what do I like really want to do? I know that I want to change fields. And I know what I want to change into, I think, but I'm not going to talk about it yet. I always feel weird talking about it. I know everybody's struggling right now. I know the job market is so horrible right now. I'm not the only person experiencing this. I love watching videos where other people talk about like their experience, like job hunting. It makes me feel less alone. I'm like, okay, it's not just me. Like, everybody's kind of going through this, and that's nice. But I feel weird talking about it, and I feel weird, like, it's weird because in some ways, like, there's some things I'm okay being vulnerable about on the internet. Like, I'll talk about my anxiety all day long, but with stuff like this, with like job and career, like, I get embarrassed. Like, I'm like embarrassed that I'm struggling, if that makes sense, which I shouldn't be, because I've never like watched somebody else talking about it and judged them like at all ever, and I don't think anybody else is really doing that. So I'm trying to work on talking about it more and being more open with you guys, because it's comforting to me, and if I can, you know, help somebody else out, make somebody else feel less alone, I feel like that's really nice. And that's also like the point of me doing this channel, is like to chronicle my life and also like engage with like-minded people and like create kind of like a safe little space. So I'm trying to be better. But I just feel like having such trouble with job hunting has been a very embarrassing experience for me. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody talk about this, but I get embarrassed, like, even in my day-to-day life, when people like ask me like what I'm doing and I'm like, oh, like, I'm job hunting right now. Like, it feels embarrassing for me because it feels like I failed, but like, everybody has to job hunt at some point. Like, that's totally normal. And especially for me, since I like am now like, I want to change fields, it's like, well, obviously it takes you a little bit to figure out like what you want to do. Like, I feel very blessed that I am able to, you know, take the time and kind of figure out what I want to do next, because I know that not everybody is in that same position. But yeah, I definitely do feel a little embarrassed, especially because I am someone who has always really prided myself on like being like smart and successful and like not like perfect, but I've always been like a perfectionist. I'm a Virgo, so that's not very surprising. And I like, you know, I was always really good in school. Like, that was a big part of my identity. So I'm kind of like at this feeling now where I'm like, I feel like I did everything right. And it's not that I have nothing to show for it, because I still have the degree, but it almost feels like it's like, well, I did everything right. I did everything that I was supposed to do, and I'm still struggling. you know, and it's not making anything any easier, and it feels like it didn't make a difference. And that's like a very dramatic way to put it. So I know that that's not how it is, but that is how it feels, and I'm sure other people feel the same way. It's just a rough time right now to be entering the workforce and to be like my age. Like it's not an ideal time. I recognize that. I think just the landscape of a lot of things are changing, like economically, due to like technology. Like there's just a lot going on in the world right now. So I get that, but it is definitely also an internal thing where I'm like have to work on my own feelings about it. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. I'm just trying to focus on what I can control, you know, in my life. So it's like, okay, I can focus on my health, you know, that's something I can very much control, what I eat, how much I work out, all that stuff. That's something I can focus on. I can learn more like skills. I can be like, okay, well, I want to brush up on this skill. I want to learn this thing. Also just like learning like new ways to like market yourself, or like, you know, I feel like it's a constant study, life in general, but also like in the working world. There's plenty of stuff in life that I'm not in control of, and I just kind of have to like do what I can do and like, you know, hope for the best. But I'm trying to focus on the things that I can control. That's how I'm dealing with it. That's kind of where I'm at now. It's definitely not easy. I am usually kind of stressed about it, obviously, but that's where I'm at with life stuff. I'm trying to think, I don't even know where I was like reading wise, what you guys have been updated on. I'm on the final book of the Lux series. Okay, I'm on book 5. Haven't started it yet. I'm taking a break because I read like 1, 2, 3, and 4 back to back, and now I'm like, I just kind of want to take a little bit of a break. I am going to finish the 5th one this year because I'm trying to finish more series. That was like a goal of mine, but I just need like something in between because I honestly don't think books 3 and 4 were like that good. Like I think the first book was fun because it was like the hate to love, will they, won't they sort of thing, and I liked the second book because there was still a lot we were trying to figure out. The third book I feel like was okay, and then the fourth book I think I'm really trying to remember what's in each book. The fourth book I liked because I liked the stuff with the government, but I do feel like there was a lot of stuff, I don't know, there's some stuff that didn't need to be in there. I also think that this series kills off too many characters. Like every character, not every character, but there's some characters that I'm like, oh, I'm really interested, and then they kill off this character and I'm like, you know, I feel like definitely killing off too many characters. I'm not gonna say like who, obviously, and it is pretty cringy, the dialogue, but for the time, it was written so long ago, that's understandable. I'm currently reading The Hound, I always say this wrong, but The Hound of Baskerville, or The Hound of the Baskervilles, Sherlock Holmes, Arthur Conan Doyle. Reading that, almost done with that. My goal is to finish that hopefully today, but if not today, tomorrow. I want to finish it like this weekend. I'm trying to work through my classics that I want to read. This was the one that I chose next. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm trying to solve the mystery. My money is on, I think it's gonna be the brother and the sister. I think they're called the Stapletons. That's who I think is doing it, or Dr. Mortimer, because Mortimer, I think in Latin, literally means death. So his name is Dr. Death. So I feel like that's sus. I feel like they're trying to tell us something. I feel like the brother and sister are in cahoots. If it's one of them, it's both of them kind of vibe. But I'm also like, plot twist, maybe it's all 3 of them, or maybe it's like the sister and Dr. Mortimer, who knows? Or maybe it's all the neighbors. But my money is on one of those 2 options, so we'll see. I still don't know. This one's kind of weird because Sherlock is not really in it. He's in the beginning, but then he's like too busy, so he doesn't go with Watson to the hall. So it's like weird that he's not in it. And like, you also like, some of the chapters are just like Watson's letters to Sherlock, like informing him what happened, which I kind of like because it's kind of cool that there's like a different media in this, and also like, especially for the time, I'm like, that's kind of fun. But it is weird that Sherlock's not really in it. So, but I am enjoying it. I am excited to see if my guesses, if either of them are correct. I want to finish, I've got like 15 books that I'm currently reading on my Goodreads or something ridiculous like that, and I couldn't even name a single one to you right now. So I feel like I really need to go through and either finish them or like clean them out because it's getting a little ridiculous. I start a lot of books because I'm like a big mood reader, so I'm trying to find like what I want to read, and then I will like not go back and like DNF them or like re-put them on my want to read or whatever on Goodreads. So sometimes I have to like just make sure to do that. So that's where I'm at. I want to finish that book today. I just filmed my August TBR, so I'm going to start one of those books today. I think I'm going to start my reread of Star-Crossed. That's what I'm leaning towards, but we will see. I'll see you guys when I see you.
Tracy, I was gonna say you met Jesse and his kids.
Okay, I started reading Star-Crossed. I want to hold it up. It's really hard to do that because I'm holding my camera and my phone, but I don't want to turn my air conditioner off, and I want you guys to be able to hear me because I'm not really sure what it's going to do to the audio because I'm sitting like kind of right by it. I have read this multiple times. It is one of my favorite trilogies. I know there's more books, but I'm gonna leave it as a trilogy because I love the trilogy so much that it's like I don't want to ruin it for myself. And the books that came after are like they came out years and years later, so it's like technically not the original trilogy, so I'm just gonna keep it as the original trilogy in my mind. I'm happy to report that this still slaps, still as good as I remember. Literally started it today and I'm already on page 162, which is kind of wild. I'm also really happy because I am trying to lower my screen time because this is so embarrassing, but my screen time yesterday was 10 hours. Yeah. And 2 of those hours, I think, were spent playing a game on my phone. I'm like, that's a little bit nuts. So today I managed to get it down to 5 hours, which I'm pretty excited about because I managed to cut it in half just by making like a conscious effort. I think the amount, whenever I'm on my phone too much like that, like for like 10 hours, I do tend to get really bad anxiety, obviously. So I'm really trying to make a conscious effort to lower my screen time. And one of the most effective ways to do that for me is to read, because I'm reading a physical book, so I'm not going to be on my phone. So I really wanted to start a new physical book today. So I'm happy I started this one. It's just as good as I remember. If you don't know what this is about, which you might not because I feel like it's criminally underrated, but Star-Crossed by Josephine Angelini. It is set in Nantucket, actually, which is really exciting because I live in Massachusetts, so it's so fun to read a book that I love that is actually set like in a place where I'm familiar with. I've actually never been to Nantucket, weirdly, because it is an island. So, but I do live on the mainland of Massachusetts. We don't talk like that here. We don't really say on the mainland, but anywho, for lack of a better word, you know. So I've been to Martha's Vineyard. I just haven't been to Nantucket yet. I do really want to go at some point, but it's at Nantucket, which is cool. And it is about people who are descendants of like demigods, and they're called scions, and they've got like different houses, and the different houses like hate each other because the Furies want them to kill each other to repay like the blood debts that their family owes from like the Trojan War. Basically, in this, they get named after like people from history, from their families, and they kind of like their lives kind of repeat the cycle. So the main character is Helen, who obviously her life is going to follow Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships. It's about Lucas and his family, and Lucas is a love interest in his... I'm not going to tell you who his story is based off of, I guess, because that might be a spoiler, because they kind of reveal it. You can probably guess, but it's really fun. If you're a fan of like Percy Jackson, obviously you'll probably like this, but it's more like grown up, because it's not middle grade, it's young adult. It has kind of like Sweet Evil vibes. I don't know if anybody read that. I feel like if you like any of the like classic paranormal romances, like The Fallen, Sweet Evil, Mortal Instruments, like any of that stuff, Lux, I feel like you'll really enjoy this. I think this is so underrated. Like, people, read it, please. Also, I would love if they made it into a TV show. Like, yes, I think it would slap, it would hit. They do the yearning so well in this book, and enemies to lovers is done so well in this book, because like the reason that they hate each other on sight makes sense, and then the reason why they stop hating each other obviously makes sense, because it's literally like a supernatural otherworldly force that's making them act this way.
which is exciting because I feel like nowadays the hate to love trope is being so overdone that sometimes it's like it doesn't make sense why they hate each other, but in this context it does. One of my favorite book series is trilogies of all time. I will forever recommend it. I think it's a hidden gem and it is underrated. I've never seen anybody else talk about it on booktube, which is wild. So that's what I'm reading. I'm really excited. I'm probably gonna read more of it tonight. I have ambiance on. I had like spring day ambiance on earlier and I switched it to night ambiance. I think that's so funny. So now it's like medieval forest night ambiance, and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow with my next update.
Yes, I am still in my PJs. Okay, don't worry about it. I have to change and get ready for yoga soon, but I wanted to give you guys my like reading update because I finished, I feel like, a lot of stuff. This was the last time I talked to you. So first things first, I told you guys I started Star-Crossed by Josephine Angelini. I already finished it. And I loved that I got to read this annotated from the last time I annotated it because it was fun because I knew when like exciting parts were coming up. But the second and third book I guess I never annotated, so I'll have to annotate them this time. But I still gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This is just as good as I remember. Still had me hooked. I think I finished it in like 3 days, maybe 2 days. I read it so fast. I just love this book. I just love this trilogy. It's just peak like perfect early 2000s, or like, I guess at least like 2014, like kind of paranormal romance. Like this is what we were all reading at the time. This is a vibe. Would recommend if you haven't read it. I already told you guys what it was about in this vlog and all that stuff, so I'm not gonna say too much about it other than I loved it. I just love like the pacing of this. I love all the characters, like even the side characters I love. There's like a lot of family dynamics in this that I find super fascinating and I love and have a lot of fun with. And then there's like some twists and some like mystery about it that obviously like I already knew because I've read this so many times, but like when you're reading it for the first time you're like oh, like I'm reading this and I remember how shocked I was at like certain reveals and everything. So I highly recommend you guys give this book a try. I really love it. I'm holding up my Kindle because I never hold up my Kindle and I have cute stickers, but also I don't know what else to hold up for like the books that I read on my Kindle. And I don't. This is the Kindle Fire. I don't have the Paperwhite, so I can't do that thing where you make the lock screen the book. Like, they don't let you do that on this version of the Kindle, I guess. I looked into it last night because I was like, I really want to do that, but I can't do it. So, I finished The Hound of the Baskervilles. So I was telling you guys that I was reading that. I am not going to tell you if my prediction was correct because I don't want to, like, spoil it for people who want to read it. I know that's, like, crazy to say because it's been out for so long. But let me know if I get enough comments where you guys want me to like spoil if I was right or not, then like I'll let you know. But I just like I don't want to like ruin it for people. So I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. It was really good. I loved the mystery. I just loved the vibes of it too. Like the setting and the atmosphere was a good time. I really liked the conclusion. Like I liked what the mystery was and like what was behind it and everything that went into it. I thought it wrapped up really nicely and I just had a lot of fun with that novel. It was funny because I was reading it and I was like, why is this taking me so much longer to get through than like typical Sherlock Holmes? And because like I just didn't even realize it was like an actual like book, like because I'm so used to the Sherlock Holmes like short stories that I just like in my head I just assumed that it was like a short story. And I was reading it at the same time as my dad because we were kind of buddy reading it and he was like, no, it's like it's like over 100 pages, and I was like, oh, because I was like sitting there wondering. I just like didn't look for some reason how many pages it was. Yeah, I really liked it. I've kind of been reading the Sherlock Holmes out of order because when I was in college and in high school, but more so when I was in college, I had to read a lot of the stories like for class and we would like study them and analyze them. So like I just gave up trying to go in order because I already haven't like gone in order. I really had fun with it. I had fun with the mystery and the way it wrapped up and I was satisfied. Yeah, so that was that and I gave that 4 out of 5 stars. And then I'll just tell you the rest of the Sherlocks like in a row. Wow, I finished I guess 5 books this week. That's a little crazy. Go me. So then I got, so technically in the series, the third in like the Sherlock series is like the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, but within those there's like little short stories, and I mark all the short stories separately personally. One, because my motto is if it's on Goodreads it counts, but two, because I've read so many for classes, I wouldn't have known what I read if I just marked like the adventures as one big thing. Like, so I'm really glad that I did that and do that, because I would have had no idea what I already read and what I didn't read. I got that whole book and I'm working through the short stories in there. And the next one I hadn't read was A Case of Identity. Oh, I never told you guys what The Hound of the Baskervilles was about, so let me go back. The Hounds of the Baskervilles is about this family, the Baskervilles, and there's a curse on them. There's believed to be a curse on them where a hellhound like kills them if they go out into the moors by their house. And Sherlock gets, what's the word I'm looking for? Recruited, I guess, to solve this mystery. So he's trying to solve this mystery and trying to save the life of Henry Baskerville, who's the last of the Baskervilles. That is the premise, that is the plot. So the whole time you're like, what is going on? You're like, this can't actually be supernatural because it really never is in Sherlock Holmes. So you're like, what is going on? That's the plot. I just realized I never said that. But Case of Identity is a short story. I give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. This one, it's kind of hard to describe what short story is about, but I will do my best. The character Mary goes to Sherlock because her husband, well, I guess fiance, because he disappeared on the morning of her wedding day, and she's worried that something like terrible happened to him. So Sherlock has to find him and figure out what happened. That is the plot of that one. I thought it was really good. The twist in it was good. The mystery of it all, the dynamics that went behind like certain people's actions was interesting. So that's why I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. It's kind of hard to talk about a lot of like the short stories in too much depth without spoiling them, obviously, because there's only so much you could say. So then the next story I had in that collection is The Red-Headed League. And in this one, there's a red-headed guy, and he goes to Sherlock and he's like, I got this letter about joining like the League of the Redheads, the Red-Headed League, and they said they'll pay me like this amount of money to just like be part of this like redheaded club. I can't believe this is actually a plot. This is hilarious, like honestly. And then he's like, so I did it, obviously, and all they wanted me to do was like copy it over like words from like the dictionary, and they paid me to do it. But then I went into work. This went on for like a few months, I guess. And then he's like, then I went into the place to do my work, and there was a sign that said the Red-Headed League has been like dismantled. And then he like asked around and no one knew what he was talking about. Like, they're like, there's no such thing as this, if this person doesn't exist. So he was confused, so he went to Sherlock and he's like, what's going on? So Sherlock has to figure out what's going on with that. I loved what the real reason behind this was and what the goal of like the league was and just what the mystery was. I thought it was super clever and I had a lot of fun reading this one, and I just thought like the Red-Headed League was so creative. Like, I feel like this short story was really creative, so I had a good time. I always have a really good time reading Sherlock Holmes, obviously. Like, it's very easy to see why this was kind of like the blueprint for like detective stories, but that's where I'm at. So I'm working my way through that. I'm sure next week I will have more to talk about. And then the last book I finished this week, which I cannot believe that I've been finishing so many books this week, but in my defense, I started The Hound of the Baskervilles like a while ago when I just finished it, and same for this one. The next book I finished was The Call of the Wild by Jack London. I started this book literally last year. I started it, it says February 4th, 2024, and I just happened to finish it this month. The Call of the Wild is about this dog named Buck, and it is just about his journey through like the Alaskan wilds, like being forced to like move the sleds and be like a carrier dog. And it's sad because there's like so much animal abuse that goes on, like to Buck, but also like to the other dogs and like that he's around, which is really sad. But it's a really just like powerful story, just felt like animals and animal cruelty, and just about like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like that's what it's about. But it's sad, and you really grow attached to Buck because you see like how he grows like throughout the story, and he slowly gets kind of like overtaken by his like animal instincts, which so it starts this kind of like interesting like conversation and thought process in your head about like nature versus nurture and animal instincts and killer instincts and all that stuff. So and he kind of like, I don't really want to say is forced to do things, but in a way he's forced to like, you know, kill a dog to become an alpha, and like the equivalent of that, and because that's how they, like, dogs and animals survive in the wild. There's certain like hierarchies and rules, and so he kind of like, he learns these rules, and it's told entirely from his point of view, so it's like you kind of see his like thought process, which is fun. But obviously it's a little sad, it's bittersweet, especially the ending is very bittersweet. I don't know if you can really spoil a book like this, but basically he kind of just like, he gets his wild instincts, and then he kind of like gets like adopted and gets kind of like tamed, and then he still feels like the call of the wild, hence why it's called that. So just the whole book is kind of this push and pull between like nature versus nurture, and like being tame versus like having wild instincts that like any animal would have. So it's a really good read. It did take me a while to get through, obviously, because I feel like with some classic books it just takes a lot of brain power. So this one took me like over a year to get through, but I'm really happy that I read it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I might actually buy this one so I can have it on my shelf. I just want to find an edition of it that I actually like, because I haven't really seen any editions of it that I like I'm very particular about my classics, and like, because there's so many different editions of them, it's like I want the right one that I really love, you know. Those are the 5 books that I finished this week. I also started last night on my Kindle The Floating Hotel, who I forget who this is even by. I might make a separate video for this, but it's by Grace Curtis, so I might make a separate video for this. But y'all who watch my vlogs are the besties, so you guys get kind of like behind the scenes secretive things. I might do a video, because there was this like Goodreads article about different cozy books in different genres, and one of them was like cozy sci-fi, and I was like, cozy sci-fi, is that a thing? And this was one of the books that was recommended, so I might read some of the cozy sci-fi books for a video and give you guys my thoughts and see if cozy sci-fi even really is a genre. But this was one of them, and it sounded really good. I've been weirdly in the mood for sci-fi, which doesn't always happen to me, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm feeling like cozy sci-fi might be a new genre for me, which I'm kind of excited. But basically this book is about, there is this floating hotel in the universe, atmosphere, whatever. This is obviously in space, so like they're not on Earth. Earth has been destroyed. So there's this floating hotel, and the main character Carl sneaks onto the hotel, and then he decides to stay because he's from like a minor planet, and he like kind of lives in poverty and doesn't really like his life or his family, so he's like, I'm gonna stay and work at the hotel. And it's just about like the different people who come and go in this hotel, and like how this like space hotel like runs and operates, and it's supposed to be like very luxurious, and they just kind of like fly around the galaxy, so you're just sitting and you're like learning about the galaxy like through the hotel and like where it's going. I really like the characters so far, and there's a little mystery going on where someone keeps sending these like sonnets through these message tubes, and no one knows like who's doing it or like what the goal is. So there's a little mystery with that too, which is fun. It seems like it's a semi-lighthearted mystery. I don't know, this is a cozy sci-fi, so I'm hoping it's kind of lighthearted, but so far I'm really enjoying it more than I thought I would. I feel like this might end up being like a 4 or 5 star read for me. It's a little soon to say because I'm only like 17% of the way through it. It's kind of given like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, but like in space, you know? That's the vibes I'm getting. I'll let you know if those vibes continue, but that is what I started last night. That is what I am currently reading. So I'm gonna keep reading that today and this week, and then I also am probably gonna start the second book in the Star-Crossed trilogy, my reread of that, which is Dreamless, and I want to annotate that one. I don't know what my annotation system was here, so I'm just kind of gonna go rogue, but I'm gonna start that one and annotate that one. But I have a lot of books that I got from my library, so I am trying, a big goal of mine I think for the rest of this week and for next week is going to be to work through all those books, because I just got a lot of them, and obviously you only have them for like 13 days, and some of them have like people waiting after me, so I really want to try to finish them, and like, so that's going to be a huge goal for me. But so yeah, so I'm gonna work on the Floating Hotel, start Dreamless, because I do like to have a physical book as well to kind of take a break from screens, and I'm gonna annotate that. I'm excited. I have reread Star-Crossed so many times, but I actually don't know if I have reread Dreamless and Goddess. I think maybe I've reread them all once. I don't know if I've reread them. Actually, I know I haven't reread them as many times as I've reread Star-Crossed, so I'm actually very excited because I remember Star-Crossed vividly. And I remember what happens in like the other books and like certain scenes, but I feel like there'll be some like surprises and things that I forgot about, so I feel like it will be fun. It's almost like you get to read it kind of for the first time again. So I'm gonna have a lot of fun reading that and annotating that. That is kind of my reading plans. That is my update. I wanted to hop on here and show you and tell you guys the 5 books that I have finished so far, which is a little wild, but I love that for me. So, okay. See you guys later.